Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Mind of a Masters Terran player. My name's Misery, and this is episode 8. We're looking at Terran versus Zerg, and I had the fortunate chance to practice a few games with Boom, the anime Zerg streamer himself. I'm gonna times to it for now, and we're gonna talk about this game. This is a series where I go over replays and talk about my thought process, what I could have done better, why I do the things that I do, and just try to understand the game a little bit more. And Boom saying that for the sake of practice, he's going to try and play as standard as possible. Anyone who's watched Boom's stream knows that Boom likes to do some crazy stuff now and again. Lots of early burrowed roaches, baneling drops or busts, just lots of crazy stuff. But for the sake of practice and for the sake of my sanity, he decided to do some standard openings. So I do a normal scout timing here. This is a little bit early actually compared to like what the pros do, but normal for where I'm at. It's a 17 or an 18 scout where I can go in, see the pool, see the natural timing, see the third base timing, and potentially get a block on the third base. So that's the idea here behind going with a Reaper Expand. After the Reaper Expand, we want to get a factory and a quick reactor after the Marine pops out. And this Reaper's whole job is to find out if I'm going to get all-in with roaches or to see the third base timing. So we don't want to lose it. It's very important that we don't lose it. So we kind of want to see how many drones he has at the natural, see if the third base goes up, and then try to see if he builds a roach warren. And at home, I want to see, we're going to slow it down again. I want to just at home build my my Hellions, get my starport started, because I'm going to be going Hellion Liberator or Hellion Banshee this game, I believe. So I want to be just making sure that's all on time, as well as getting my natural base a little bit saturated. The Reaper still, can scout as much as it can. Usually I'll throw it at one of the Xel'Naga towers after I've seen the third base go down, just so that if he is going to go roaches, if I have a Xel'Naga tower, then it allows me to prepare for it at home. I'll see them walking across the map more often than not. So we usually go up to 6 Hellions, and we get 2 Banshees. So that's how this build opens. And so far I've looked at what Boom's doing, and even without him typing anything, I know that it's a very standard Zerg opening. He's just trying to drone up pretty hard, get to layer tech, and then choose how he wants to play the game from there, whether he wants to go into mutas, if he wants to go Massling Bane style, if he wants to get some roaches to defense. But usually they're going to build something around 4 minutes to deal with the Hellion Banshee, and in this case he is choosing to go Banelings, and he's going to go Lingbane with a few Queens for defense, and he just wants to connect his creep. At home, we have Cloak Banshees on the way. I want to make sure this is fully walled off in case he tries to run by. And he is able to catch these units kind of without me looking while I'm macroing at home. But I am able to kill a lot of the Zerglings and actually save most of the Hellions. They are pretty low HP, so I won't be able to combat the creep spread that much. But, they're doing their job. I'm keeping map control. I'm on his side of the map. The creep hasn't really left outside of his third base, which is pretty much a win for me right now, or a minor victory we'll call it. And we want to attack with the Hellions on one side and the Banshees on another. We want to have the Banshees try and do some mineral line damage or combat creep, and while that's happening we want to do the same thing with the Hellions and the Reaper on the other side. So that's the plan here. I think I send the Banshees over to this dead space, makes it easier to maneuver them once I have 2 of them. And after that, we want to have 2 more barracks added. We're going 3-1-1, so we'll have 3 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and we'll get into some Marine medevac drops going after we get past this phase of the game with the Hellions and the Banshees. So second Banshee comes out, and we'll do a quick swap. All of our add-ons are being made by other buildings right now. We have Stim almost completed. And we have our 1-1 upgrades, and our armory is on time. By time 1-1 is finished, the armory will be done. We'll be able to start 2-2 fairly quickly. And I think my third base is a little bit late. Did I go Yeah, I went for 5 barracks before a third base. I wouldn't normally recommend this, but in this particular instance, I guess I decided I wanted to go very unit heavy early and commit. So there goes the third base. I'm going to be hard pressed to keep this production going, but it is going to be pretty strong early on. It's going to allow me to create a lot of units for the drop play. So that's all we're doing here. The Hellions get cleaned up. However, the Banshees are able to... We want to target fire the Banshees to drones if we can, or attack the Queens away from spores. So we're able to kill a couple of Queens, and then if you can target fire the drones, 2 Banshees will one-hit a drone. So getting rid of the Queens helps a lot, though. It helps in the fact that he can't really inject as much, he can't spread creep as much, and now he has to rebuild them to deal with these Banshees still, because the spore on its own isn't going to deal with it. So the Banshees being very annoying. Even this Reaper actually staying alive for a very long time. And at home, you know, making sure that all my add-ons are finishing. I'm not going to get all in because I have a tank here. It should be set up on the ledge just in case he does try to go in with Roach Ravager Baneling. But the Banshee's doing an excellent job of what they're supposed to do. So that's the whole idea with this opener. And then while all that's happening, we want to have this 1-1 stim medevac drop hitting at 7 minutes. It's a little bit late, but this is supposed to... The first set of drop is supposed to deny creep. So we want to deny creep as much as possible with this. And if the Banshees are alive, we'll go back in with the Banshees. If they're not, then we'll wait for a second set of drop ships to do economic damage. So we'll do creep spread on one side, economic damage on the other side. So that's the idea here, is the multi-prong. Keep them at all sides. If we can't do economic damage, then we'll go back to trying to clear creep. If we can't clear creep, then we'll go back to doing economic damage, or trying to do economic damage. He is able to clear up a couple of the Marines there, but not too bad. And all in all, I'm feeling pretty good in this game. At this point, feeling all right. We've cleared the creep quite a bit. It's very far back on his side, and we're trading units very effectively here. We're keeping units alive, and we're getting good trades up to this point. So second factory comes down once our third base is up. Once we have the gas for our third from our third base, we should have a second factory, and 2-2 is just about halfway done, or just over halfway done, so that helps us a lot. The Banshees are still kind of doing their own thing. My APM isn't great, so sometimes I'll forget about the Banshees in dead space. But again, just Banshees on one side, Marines on the other side. So it's very, very helpful when you can keep the Zerg on 2 fronts. Definitely makes it more difficult for the Zerg to defend everything with just Ling Bane. If they haven't gone Hydralisk, or they haven't gone Mutalisk, it makes it very difficult for him to defend all of this with just Ling Bane and Queens. And he actually rushed up to Hive Tech, so Boom kind of throws some flavor on his builds, rushing to Hive Tech, getting Ultralisks and Vipers, I believe, to deal with all this, which is, you know, not terrible. It's a rough loss right there. But again, this is where the multi-prong happens. He's got all those units on the top side of the map. Now we hit the natural again. Send all these Marines in, and, you know, try to snipe drones, but killing Queens and Spores is good too, because then he has to remake all that. So this is great damage from us, and we're getting set up for our 4th base. There's supposed to be a push happening right now before the Hive Tech units hit the field, but because I've been so focused on multi-pronging, I'm not paying attention to the timing for the push, and here come the Ultralists. So this is where we need to have our transition ready, which I do not. At this point, we should have 3 more barracks with tech labs for Marauders. As soon as I see the Ultralists, that's the plan. They are going to be late, but we do have a good enough wall set up that he's not going to really be able to attack into us. We're going to have a delayed 4th base, because Ultralisk can definitely crash into all this open area with Ling Bane, and especially with Vipers to pull the tanks or to blind them. But at this point, I'm thinking, all right, because we don't have these barracks ready with Marauders, we're going to multi-prong more. I'm just going to commit even harder to the multi-prong and make him defend everywhere. He's got all these melee units. We're going to make him defend everywhere with them. So it's going to be very difficult for him to do that. So 2 medevacs at the top, 2 at the natural. He does actually get a very nice catch here with the Vipers which is very, very smart play. Actually, I don't see a lot of Zergs doing this, and very good play from him. He's able to blind or parasitic bomb both the medevacs until, you know, one's at 3 HP and he gets another one for free. But then there's that drop at the top side. So again, he's not dealing with everything. He can deal with one or two things, but he's trying to posture on the map and deny my fourth at the same time. So as long as we can kind of keep him on with a lot of units on his side of the map, then that'll help me get the Marauders out in time, spread out the tanks to defend against the Vipers, and you know, make sure that we have our fourth base. So getting a little bit more economic damage in, and again, we're committing to this multi-prong until this can get set up, and then hopefully we can get our Marauder transition in and then do a big 3-3 push, because our 3-3 is almost finished. If we look at our Zerg opponent, his 3-3 not super far behind ours, but far enough behind where we can force a fight when 3-3 finishes, and it'll go in our favor because he'll still be on 2-2 for a little while, and then the drops will do that much more damage if we continue doing them. So you can see how good these Marines are, and this is just with 2-2 against 2-2 Zerg Bane or Zergling Baneling. And again, just doing as much economic damage as we can. We're going to try and do the same thing at the bottom side by the natural. He does catch it again with the Vipers, but this time, you know, I caught on to it. I was like, oh, he's going to do it again, but not a great split. I was about to say it was a good split up of the medevacs so they don't kill each other, but they did still do all right. Oh, and it looks like he'll clean that one up. So still pretty good though. We killed a lot of drones over on the north side, and now I'm thinking this is a great time to push. You know what? He's dealing with this. He's got all of his units at home. Let's push out, kill this creep. We've got lots of tanks, Marauders now, and you know, all the production we're gonna need. We'll start our fifth base with this push and try to not die to like a big open engagement. And you know, here comes his engagement. He does catch me unsieging, moving forward with a few tanks. So this is actually a very good engagement for him. You know, not a great engagement for me. I probably should have kept multi-pronging here, but you know, even though he cleaned all of this up, I've got that drop on the north side, killing more drones, and I killed the hatch. So not a complete loss here. I still have my fourth base. I still have a lot of units at home, and yes, he has a lot of ultras, which are scary, but you know, his economy is not great. It hasn't been great most of this game. Mine hasn't been super amazing either, but if I don't die to this big ultra push, then I should be in a great position to win this game. So everything's pulled back now. I'm kind of low on medevacs. I realize I have a few on that side of the map still. So again, sending 2 more medevacs off to drop and keeping everything else at home to try and defend a potential counterattack, because now the Zerg has to make something happen. I do catch it. I get the scan off, and sadly, I don't have all my tanks sieged, but I get to start the engagement off with the stim that I wanted and start attacking Ultralisk from range rather than having them just show up and scare me. So he is able to jump on the fourth base and kill everything, but I'm able to kite back further and further back to my base and kill the most of the Ultralisks, the big expensive units. So if you can kill those bad boys, that's going to help you out quite a bit. And then again, just trying to make something happen on his side of the map. He does have many spores now, so he's going to be able to get most or at least get the medevacs. And you know, I'm not really paying that much attention, but you know, at least a few Marines get out and are able to cause some problems for him. On my side of the map, we're able to defend almost everything. We lose the fourth base, which, you know, it hurts quite a bit, but I know that his economic status is pretty similar to mine. So, you know, we can use that to our advantage, and, you know, he's still making a few Ultralisks, but he won't be able to keep this up for much longer. And if I can retake my fourth, I think I've got enough production that he can't tech switch right now. He has to commit more to the Ultralisk play, the Ultralisk and Viper play, just because if he tries to tech switch now, if he tries a Greater Spire and build a bunch of Corruptors, he's going to need so much money to make the Brood Lords that, you know, we're going to be able to catch him before that happens. So knowing that, we continue our bio play. We don't add Ghosts because we don't have the money to tech switch into Ghost, sadly. As long as we're able to retake the fourth base, and we do have tanks and Liberators, and a lot of marauders, we can probably pull a victory here. So he's gonna try and do these run bys, try and attack with what few units he has, but we're in a pretty good defensive posture. Sorry guys. And again, just being very diligent with this. Isn't really multi-pronging, but keeping up the harass. This is something that is very useful against Zerg. If you can keep up the harass for the entirety of the game, almost for the entire game, I've sent something, even if it's not the best harass, I'm forcing him to do something on his side of the map. I'm not letting him just posture in the middle of the map with all of his units. Instead, he has to keep pulling back and trying to deal with either these liberators, the drops, or even at the very start with the Hellions and the Banshees. He's always trying to do something back at home, and he's not disturbing us on our side of the map, because it's possible that he could win an engagement on our side of the map with the Vipers. You never know with Blinding Cloud. Maybe he gets like a few money Blinding Clouds, and then he gets the good Baneling hits he wants. But as long as he's not doing that, he's back at his home base, we don't even have to worry about all that. We can prepare for our next push, which is going to come right now that we're almost max supply, I think. Where am I? Oh no, I'm at 140 supply, but I felt like I had a very large army, so I felt like this was a good time to attack. So moving across the map, I saw what he had, which was the 3 ultras and some banelings. So get a tank spread out the bio units, and then just make sure you don't take huge baneling hits at this point in the game. And excuse me, if you can spread off some bio units, go attack another base that's on high ground, all the power to you, all the better for you. Because again, he's gonna have to send some units up and above, and as soon as he does that, we pull these guys back down. We go on the low ground now. This map is pretty good for that. And now we have such a good spread down here off of creep. It's gonna make it very difficult for him to engage here, and this is pretty much the nail in the coffin for the Zerg. Mr. Boom. And I think we'll see GG very shortly, or in 20 seconds. So we saw that were the main things to look at here. The multi-prong harass went pretty well for the majority of the game. Some Zergs will leave a lot more at home, but the key to once you start seeing that, then that's when you can start moving all of your units together as one. There's a GG called. Things we could have done better this game, probably paying a little bit more attention to the drops and paying attention to the Banshees. Probably could have done a little bit more damage with them, but again, I'm not a perfect player. We're at like M2, so it's hard to keep all that stuff up. It's hard to play as good as some of the pros and even some of the GM players. So that's something to work on more, is just getting more damage done with those multi-prongs, when just being more active with them. That's going to come with more and more practice though. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week for episode 9, which will be a TVT. Cheers.